However, posting of such teachers will be strictly based on teacher shortage in the country, distributed as per Appendix 6. So, Chair, there you have to check Appendix 5 and then go to Appendix 6.
Members, are we together? Yes, you've seen the division of teachers for the national and then how they are posted depending on the shortages. Proceed.
Chair, the next question was for the Commission to present a comprehensive report on the 12 highly understaffed counties in terms of teacher postings and report on action being taken to address them. So, under 2.3.1, we have a mandate to employ and post teachers to our public institutions. Over the years, we have implemented strategies that are geared towards optimal teacher staffing and taken into account other factors such as budgetary provision, demand, and supply of teachers and existing establishments. These strategies include annual requests for budgetary allocation for recruitment, Chair, and you know this is something we always come to this committee to ask for. And engagement of teacher interns, recruitment of teacher interns on contractual terms in Madera, Wajir, Garissa, and Lamu counties, and immediate replacement of teachers who exit service through natural attrition. And, of course, the adoption of a decentralized demand-driven approach to recruitment. So over the past 5 years, the government has, under the medium-term plans, has provided for the recruitment of only 5,000 teachers annually to particularly address teacher shortage in secondary schools occasioned by 100% transition. So there has been no additional funding to address the existing teacher shortage for both primary and post-primary institutions. As of June 2022, the Commission was faced with a teacher shortage of 116,048,327 primary and 67,673 in post-primary. And this is shown in Appendices 7 and 8, Chair. Again, you can check Appendix 8, 7, and 8. Chair, if you look at Appendix 7, it's about teacher shortage in primary schools. We have given the teacher shortages and also in percentage, just to give members the true picture of the shortages in these counties. And that's primary, so that, for example, you'll see that Mandera there has 56.59 and so on. Then you continue to Appendix 8. Is it 8? Appendix 8 is post-primary, Chair. So, again, you'll see, and the percentages are included. And if I'm allowed, then I can still continue. So further, while the teacher established, the establishment for grade 7 level is 61,100, at least 2 teachers per class, the Commission has recruited 30,550 teachers, as discussed in paragraph 2.2.9, bringing the teacher shortage at grade 7 to 30,550. The ranking in the appendices at paragraph 2.3.4 above is based on percentage shortage per county as opposed to numerical shortage, which is determined by the number of establishments in a county vis-a-vis the teachers on duty, and you can see the formula used there. Page 11 is from the analysis, it is inferred that the percentage shortage illustrates the correct teacher shortage position in the country, and the high shortage in counties outside ASO and hard-to-serve areas is as a result of the diverse subjects taught in the schools, huge enrollment, and high number of learning institutions in those counties. However, the Commission envisions reduction of teacher shortage to 79,450 at primary levels and secondary, as shown there, as at February 2023, as expounded below. Because in July 2022 and January 2023, the Commission recruited 1,000 teachers in primary schools, bringing the total number of recruited primary schools to 2,000. And with the introduction of JSS grade 7, the Commission envisaged a total of 30,550 primary teachers who were previously teaching in class 7 to further reduce teacher shortage in primary 7, in primary level. In July 2022, the Commission recruited 4,000 teachers at secondary school level. This notwithstanding, the Commission endeavors to streamline teacher shortage to at least 25%. And I think, Chair, we need a lot of support here. Because when you look at the data we have given, you can see that counties have diverse shortages. And I think then we need to have a discussion at a later date on how you will help the Commission to get to 25% across all the counties and still not delocalize. So so 2.3.9a, these are the strategies. Teacher rationalization. Chair, when we are doing this, I will still say we need a lot of support from this committee. How do we rationalize and we won't delocalize? Then B, recruiting teachers on contractual terms in accordance with regulation that of the Code of Regulation. The Commission has made a policy decision to employ teachers in Northeastern Region and Lam County on contract terms to address teacher shortage in the 4 counties. And also to replace teachers removed as a result of the insecurity. And these teachers are offered contractual terms on 3 years, renewable until they attain the age of 65, or whichever comes earlier. Then there is the affirmative action to ensure that ASO and hard-to-staff areas are well equipped, and the Commission allocates an additional 5% of the teaching positions to those ASO areas, as you have seen from the tables that we have shown. Then de-engagement of teachers on internship programs, and we have discussed that. So, Chair, moving on, the Commission to present to the committee a comprehensive report on the recruitment and posting of teachers in ASO and hard-to-staff areas. To address teacher shortage in ASO and hard-to-staff areas, and pursuant to Article 56 of the Constitution, we have put in place certain measures. A, to ensure that these areas are staffed, we give an additional 5% on top of what we give other areas. And the local teachers are recruited and retained in the ASO areas and hard-to-staff on affirmative action to ensure that we at least try to have optimal staffing levels and to stabilize those areas. And priority is given to applicants from local communities whenever teaching vacancies arise. And teachers in those areas are paid hardship allowance. And due to challenges experienced in Northeastern region and that frequently it adversely affects staffing levels of the teaching service, as I have said, we give these teachers contracts until they are the age of 65. And honorable members, you will note that the Commission recruited a total of 352 primary school teachers and 686 post-primary teachers in ASO and hard-to-staff areas in July 2022, as illustrated in appendices 9 and 10. So we have shown what we have done for the ASO areas in appendices 9 and 10, Chair. Then we move on to 2.5, and we had been asked to report to the committee on the primary school teachers to be promoted to junior secondary schools backed by mapping and statistical data. And Chair, if you look at 2.52, we give the qualifications of teachers that we need to get to junior secondary. Those are the qualifications right there. Under 2.53, the Commission has, through verification of personal files, and members will also know, because teachers report to them, we opened a portal where teachers interested in getting, who have the requisite requirements, then applied. And the mapping process of these teachers is ongoing, but as of today, as we were coming, we have identified 10,833 teachers to teach in JSS, those teachers in primary school who have the requisite grades, and we are now mapping them. It is still ongoing, and we shall commence we hope that the reporting of these teachers will be on Monday, the 20th of February. So I'm reading that. It is not in your paper, because now I had to bring myself up to 7,000. Yes, as at that time when because we had a deadline to submit this report. But as of today, and as at the close of the portal, 10,833 teachers have applied and they have the requisite qualifications and they are just right for deployment. And so right after this, we are mapping them, there are people mapping them, and we hope that these teachers can report on the 20th of this month to add to the other teachers we have posted there.
Thank you. So members, I want to open the floor. We ask the questions. And I'll start by asking CEO that from your documentation, we recruited 6,000 teachers, but from the BPS, from our supplementary estimates, the National Treasury gave us that we recruited in this financial year for 4,000 teachers. Where is the? Give us those figures so that these members can understand, because we were briefed on that. Two, we also have this issue of recruitment of teachers, especially those in secondary schools. I have an outcry. We have an outcry out there that the Teacher Service Commission always actually move goalposts. Let me say that. Let me use that term. From 2.52, you indicated the requisite requirements. Most of these teachers have a bachelor's degree in education. They had a C+ in the teaching subjects, KCSE, and at least C+ in a teaching subject. When you bring this issue of 8 units in each of the 2 teaching area subjects, many of them universities differ. And the University Senate normally determines that so-and-so has sat the examiners and qualified. I hope you get this. This one now has disadvantaged a number of teachers who have met the minimum requirement. Not the extraneous requirement, the minimum requirement that I have done an exam, I have sat, I have a bachelor's, I have a C+, and I have done A, B, C, D, as per the University Senate. And this student sat the exams in 1994, others sat in 2002, and these requirements are coming late in the day, and you are telling them, you cannot proceed to secondary school. What are you doing with these teachers? Yet they are qualified. And even their colleagues in high school. Their colleagues in high school, whom we sat together, are able to have done the same 8 units and is teaching out there. So maybe not the 2 so that you can answer, so that we don't actually affect or actually be unfair to these teachers in the field. So members will have one round of questions, and then we'll go to the next one. Let's start. Honorable Njendi, Honorable Tonke, Honorable Abdul, and Honorable Member for Honorable Nabi, and Honorable Member for Siaya.
I want to start with the teachers who are in primary, who have qualified to go to secondary school. The number stands at 10,000. I want to request the TSC. Is it possible for TSC to avail names before us per sub-county? Why I'm raising this is because when we were here last time, we were told you had applications from 14,000 principals or teachers who wanted to transfer.
Honorable Jenny will have that.
No, will come, but why I'm saying that is just to support this.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, TSC was telling us that the 14,000 teachers who had applied for transfer, particularly principals, all of them had been considered. But in my sub-county, I have principals who applied in November. Up to now, they have not received any communication of transfer. So for us just to be sure that when we're talking of numbers, we would like to have these teachers listed per sub-county to know them. My last question. I don't know if I'm the one who's not getting it right. When it comes to your paragraph 232, we are talking of counties having a shortage of teachers. And I'm only seeing Wajir, Lamu, which was the other one? Yeah, Wajir, Lamu, and Mandera. And when we were here last time, Kakamega County stood out. Is it there? And Homa Bay. Yeah, that time. It's there. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the main point, 23. Okay. So my question then is, when it comes to recruitment of contract teachers on your 2.39 B, we are seeing now in those areas of Northeastern, you are continuously recruiting on contract, 3 years renewable. This until when? When are you projecting that this will come to an end? And then I wanted to ask, I'm seeing only this recruitment for those counties. But why are you not mentioning also Homa Bay, Kakamega under this? Why are they not experiencing also the same?
That's a very good question, and members want to ask that they still say there, even the visitors, you can serve yourself and come in. 2 questions strictly, members, so that we move faster.
Chair, thank you, Chair. First of all, Chair, I want to thank TSC. For me, this was the best recruitment ever. Actually, give credit where it's due. Chair, my question now goes to the recruited teachers and now to TSC. We've seen them posting teachers to different schools and specifically for the junior secondary schools. Now, these teachers are trained to teach 1 or 2 subjects. They have their specialty. And now you are posting 1 teacher per junior secondary school. And these students there are purportedly supposed to be secondary schools. So are these teachers going to handle all their subjects in that particular school?
Yeah, it's me. Thank you. I think one of the hottest topics in our last meeting was on the question of money having been appropriated in June, and the recruitment had not been done in December when we were meeting. I find that a little bit lost in this discussion. And looking at the objective of the internship, since it began in 2019, one of the objective number 3, is to establish standards for effective internship program. I'm wondering whether that objective is being adhered to when we have given money for recruitment of 6,000 interns in June 2022. And that recruitment has not happened. It reaches a point, TSC discovers that it has established 8,200 teachers are exiting the service. At what point, for example, did TSC establish this shortage, which has now affected the recruitment of the interns according to this report? Had this shortage not been established, would it have affected the recruitment of the interns, which have now taken from June to January 2023 to be recruited? Having said that, my other question is, I raised a number of questions in the last meeting. In fact, my questions were in written form. None of them have not been responded to. I don't know whether the note that was shared with the commission got lost somewhere. I asked quite a number of questions about the policies that are in place in terms of promotion of teachers.
Maybe we can just ask because the chairperson is here.
Yeah. So there are quite a number of questions, about 10 of them. But I'll mention the question of conceptual terms.
Sorry, what you can do, instead of mentioning again, can you just confirm, do you have the notes or the issues raised by Mheshimiwa then? Do you have?
Can I finish?
Chair, we come to the House with what the official written letter here. Because what happens is that I think members...
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yeah. I raised quite a number of questions, and I gave even a written paper for those questions to be presented to the Commission for answer. One of the questions was, what policies does TSC have in place for promotion of teachers active in serving capacity as administrators in both ASAL and non-ASAL areas? And how many of these teachers were acting as administrators for how long, and what is their job group? I expected that answer here today. And if so, what does the policy, especially you mentioned about affirmative action, what does the policy of the affirmative action state with regard to the timeline for promotion as well as requisite skills required? Can we have a copy of that policy, perhaps? Have any teachers been promoted since the formulation of the framework for the affirmative action? And how long does it take to be promoted from one job group to the next? That was another question that was in my paper. And whether the policy had been applied equally to all teachers in all areas. And why have teachers in ASALs not been promoted as opposed to counterparts?
Mheshimiwa, sorry for interruption. I would that you ask a question that's related to, from your points. From your points, ask, maybe raise what has been presented.
Yes.
Then when it comes to promotion again, you will
So
now
we
raise
have not
that
covered
one.
promotion here?
Not yet.
Okay, on the contractual terms, I requested for a list of those people who have benefited from that program per county, and perhaps if you can also be given the names of those beneficiaries, so that we know from which counties they are coming from. Finally, maybe because I'll ask the others later when we go to the section which is relevant. The Commission, you have stated very clearly that you're mandated by the Constitution to employ and post teachers, which is true, and you implement a number of strategies to make sure you realize that goal, and you take into account several factors which you have indicated in your report, including existing establishment and provisions of what. How do you adhere to this constitutional mandate when we have a county with 57% shortage and another one with 1% shortage? Where is equity? Where is fairness? Yeah, that's one. That was supposed to be my last question, and yeah, let me stop there for now. I'll ask the others later.
I'm sorry, who was the next person to? Christine Ombaka.
Okay.
Okay, Ombaka and then Abi.
Okay, Chair, thank you for this opportunity. In your, in reference to your qualification, which you have indicated in 2.5.2, the last point reads at least 8 units in each of the teaching subjects. I do not know, I don't understand what you mean by units, because in teaching I know that somebody has subjects that you specialize in, subject combination. I don't understand that. Maybe you need to explain what you mean by units. The second question is, do you have a relationship with universities? Because university, when you study education, you have 2 subjects. And I've seen a case, I have not seen it, it's not a very common one, but I've seen a case where a teacher cannot be employed because he has maths and CRE and maths as the 2 teaching subjects, and could not get employed. Is that going to be a common problem? Because I've seen it as a problem. I've tried to help this teacher to get employed. It's not possible because that subject combination is a big challenge. It's not getting together. Maybe you need to connect with the universities to understand what kind of subjects do they offer and what are the combinations, which also is relevant to you, so that when you do recruitment, you do not let down those teachers. I think that is my issue.
Thank you, Chair. My first question, Chair. The 5,000 that were supposed to have been recruited after the June budget that were not recruited, 6,000, whom we are now recruiting currently, and therefore they will be on the payroll from February. Chair, I'm wondering, money which is in excess of 1.2, about 1 billion for the 7 months that these people would have earned, what that money will do, where that money is, and whether we have sought parliamentary approval for the use of that money, if not in recruitment for that period. Second question, Chair. I must appreciate the work done in the recent recruitment. However, Chair, listening to the CEO in terms of shortage, I am requesting her to share with this committee the model they are using to determine the shortage she has indicated, especially for junior secondary, given that junior secondary is a secondary in a primary school, and so far only 30,550. I'm yet to know whether the 9,000 which we know, which Treasury declared to us that they want us to pay, whether it's part of that. And if that is the case, plus the 10,000 who are already in primary school, it is 35,500 plus 10,000. That will give you about 40,500. If you were to divide by the 30,550 classes, by the way, the difference is not big. I've seen in my own constituency. Eventually, all the primary schools have still become the hosting schools. So if you are to divide, it's actually 1.6 of our teachers, about 2 teachers in the junior secondary. Is that adequate using your model?
Thank you. Yes, let's have a member from Marakwet West.
Chair, one question. Now, looking at the shortage of teachers in this country, Chair, you would wonder whether we are in one country. If you look at Kakamega, it has a shortage of 6,353 teachers. If you look at Kirinyaga, it has a shortage of 36 teachers. That is a glaring discrepancy. Would the Commission tell us what led or what contributed to this glaring difference? Number 2, I've looked at the tabulated table in terms of shortages. You have classified the same as per counties. I would appreciate if it is done as per constituencies, because some of us come from a county where there are 2 extremes. Like in Marakwet County, we have the islands, which covers 2 constituencies, Keyo North and Keyo South, and we have 2 other constituencies, Marakwet West and Marakwet East, and no teacher would want to serve in Marakwet West and Marakwet East. So we would like to see a table containing a shortage of teachers per sub-counties. Thank you.
Thank you. And Honorable Jerusha and then Honorable Ivo Bara, then we come on the other side.
Thank you, Chair. I'm also on the shortage of teachers, specifically on the ASAR counties. Chair, from the memories of this House and of this committee, we have always been giving even the affirmative action to the ASAR areas in terms of recruitment. What is really happening? That every other year, as we talk, there is shortage of teachers from these counties. Is it that teachers do not report? Those that you employ and send to the ASAR areas, is it that they go there and they move out? And why do you allow them? 2, what as a commission do you think we can do to help such places? Because when we look at the discrepancy in terms of teachers, it's too high, and it is also affecting the students from such regions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ivo Bara.
Chair, I'm looking at Appendix 2 on the recruitment and posting of primary school teachers. Chair, on the face value, it looks very, very good. 21, 25, mainly 21, 25, and you'd call it equitably distributed across all counties. But if you look at it critically, then the question is, if you are recruiting equal numbers to areas that do not need these teachers, then you're telling us that you are posting them to the other areas. Have you solved the unemployment issue in those other areas where you're posting them? If they don't need the teachers, then recruit from those areas so that you also address the unemployment. in those areas. Do you get the point? You are recruiting 21. You need 1. But you're saying that the extra 20 will be posted, say, Homa Bay, a constituency in Homa Bay. But they have been recruited in Kirinyaga. I'm asking that why can't they be recruited from the area where there is need? And now I am addressing the issue of unemployment of our youth in particular. You recruit from Kabondo Kasipul instead of Kirinyaga and then send them over to my place.
Point of order.
Yeah.
You know, it is us members. It is us members. I don't know if in order. It's us members who instructed TSC to recruit locally. It is us who gave the instruction. Yeah, so I don't know if honorable member is in order to query TSC for what ourselves resolve.
Yes, but it's something, it's a question that you need to ponder through. And secondly, can we have a list? Because my fear is, the moment you're posted, assuming that it was coming from Homa Bay that had the higher number, assuming they were taken to Kirinyaga, the moment they arrive there, they would want to be posted back to their region. And the policy allows them to be posted back to their region. You can see the contradiction. Then they will go back, and again, we still have the same problem. So we need to look at it very critically. But in the meantime, can we have the list of those teachers who have been posted? I'm talking about Homa Bay County. Of those who have been posted in Homa Bay County from those other regions to meet in this allocation of posting, to meet the 51 number that you have here, this 51. I would like to see those people, those 51 people who have been posted to the county from wherever, so that we can monitor their movement also, that they don't go back again to where they came from and we are left with again the same problem. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Members, I know there are certain issues that are controversial that originated from this committee. And I think those are issues that we'll sit down as a house, take it to the plenary, and convince the house that the following counties shall not participate in the recruitment process. You remember that how this scheme came up. And I think there's also another issue which is coming up, the issue of trying to stop importation of teachers. We actually talked to the Teacher Service Commission that on recruitment day, they should come with an ID showing where they come from. A number of our locals were locked out because they were married, they were brought in. These are some of the issues that we need to discuss as a committee before we really move forward, so that we don't look like we're shooting ourselves on the foot. So on that note, I think we really need to sit down as a committee and come up with very good policy. Either one, we put Homa Bay, Bungoma, Kakamega on the same pedestal as those counties in Wajir, Lamu, and the others. That could be one of the ways. Because two, we also need to agree as a committee that this endless recruitment should stop when. We cannot just be recruiting people from one region for endless times. You need to give us a target. Say you are targeting 3 years. We'll have solved the problem of understaffing in the ASAL areas. We'll have solved the problem of understaffing in Kakamega, Homa Bay. And this is the targeted recruitment in those particular areas. So that we don't come here and we have no clear way forward. So I think we've seen the statistics here speaks very well. For example, a country like Garissa, for example, has an understaffing of 35%. Yet it has been recruiting all through. We have a county like Lamu that has been recruiting through, and it has understaffing of 35%. Yet when you come to a county like West Pokot and Kisumu and Homa Bay, they have understaffing of over 40%. It is the wisdom of this committee that we can agree and we bring before the commission. Can we include those counties that are adversely affected by understaffing into the same realm as those in ASAL areas? So it is upon us, we discuss, and we can table it before the House and before the Commission. So let's proceed on that particular matter. Honorable Borero?
Yeah, I'm just pondering about this recruitment of intern teachers in junior secondary. Now we realize that before it was domiciled in primary, we expected that these teachers they will be in secondary schools. When we recruit teachers who are trained to teach in secondary, and we take them to junior secondary schools, it means they will only be teaching 2 subjects. I have heard from the secretary that they have already mapped out about 10,000 teachers in primary who have a higher qualification. Is it not economically viable that we map out these teachers from primary and take them to this junior secondary, then we recruit more primary teachers, and those secondary teachers who are to teach in junior primary are taken to secondary schools? Because one, those who have been trained to teach in secondary will not find it easy to be headed by somebody in primary. 2, we should focus that when they go to grade 9, we should not domicile grade 9 in primary school and we move it to secondary. So it is economically viable that these interns coming to grade 7 should be either those with a diploma in primary, or the primary school should be recruited, and those who have been mapped out to be having higher education be pushed to teach grade 7.
Any other? So I'll give the Teacher Service Commission to respond, and then we move the next question.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I thought this issue of numbers I would come and answer when I'm talking about budget on Thursday, but I can still, about the 44,000. So you still wanted me to answer in this? Okay. Because if you remember, we were given we were given 5,000 PNP in the year 22-23 PNP, and the 6,000 interns. That makes 11. Then, when the new government came into place, we got the 30,000. So that 11 plus that comes to 41,000. Now, the rest that the 3 that you are talking about, I may need to find out from the NT if they are the ones who gave you that number. But I'm sure of the 41,000 because that is our allocation by NT. So the 3,000 we would need to find out from the NT.
So that we move with speed. Are you able to, when we are having the supplementary, kindly come up with conclusive answer on that?
Yes.
So that we move with
because
the 3,000 balance.
Actually, that's the only one I can't answer because the rest I know.
So please move to the next one.
All right. The next one is about how these teachers are going to handle all the subjects in JSS. And if you have seen my circular, the one that we have done, KICD has already advised us on how many of the subjects that are closely related, like, for example, the sciences, and they are called the new learning areas, they are closely related to what we was being taught. So a teacher can actually safely teach like 3 to 4 subjects given time and so on. But however, we are retooling these teachers also to teach CBC subjects by the end of April. We have started, and by the time they report for next term, they will have been retooled. Now, about the money appropriated in June and we recruited in December, yes, Chair, we have explained in our paper what necessitated this. I think, members, you remember we had a very, very packed year as we tried to recoup the year after COVID. And it has always been the practice at Teacher Service Commission that we first recruit the PNP, so that after we recruit the PNP and they know they are getting the letters, then we advertise for the interns, because then how else would they know they did get the PNP? And I think I have explained in one of the paragraphs how this came into being. And these teachers now have been recruited. And we are still safe, Chair, because this was money meant for 2022-23, which will lapse in July. So we still have the money in NT, and it is allowed that we now employ these teachers for the remaining months of the year, of the financial year, Chair. About shortage of natural attrition, this one we are always aware of, because it touches on the teachers who will exit at any particular time. For example, who is retiring at the end of the year and so on. And Chair, the only thing that we are not sure about natural attrition, are those things that are not predictable, like death. Like, for example, a person has resigned and so on, and then we can recruit them in the consecutive month. So we are always sure about natural attrition. And why we brought these numbers is just to apprise members. Maybe they saw we had been given 10,000, so where has that 10,000 come from? And that's what we wanted to apprise them on. About the questions, I think the Vice Chair has guided properly, because all the questions that we answer in this honorable House are the questions we receive through the clerk, and we have tried to do that. About the units, these were canvassed with the universities. We sat and we agreed to be a teacher and to have content. How many of these units do you need in a subject? So this has been canvassed. We have a relationship with the universities, and especially those ones that offer education. And we sat and we released a circular that was sanctioned by them. And it is them, because they are the teacher educators, that told us, if a teacher came here, for example, physics, maths, and has only 2 units in physics, that teacher cannot teach properly. So this was canvassed, and the universities can attest to that. About teachers who have, for example, math theory, yes, they have been passed by the Senate, and we do employ them as long as they have the requisite subject. And it's a rare combination, but it happens, and we employ them, because I am taught maths. My university teacher tells me that maths can either be an art or a science, depending on what then you pair it with, and so they are employed. I think I have explained about the 6,000 teachers, and this was meant for 2020, 22, 23, so we're still in time. Shortage of, the model we use to determine the shortage, yes, Honorable Chair, actually we are waiting for the working party to actually give its report out to the president, so that we know how now to start working the workings on the subject. We have a consultancy by World Bank that is helping us determine now the CBE and so on of the new teaching areas. So I can't answer this question conclusively until I get what the working party is going to tell us. For example, you heard that last time when they went to see the president, they were told to reduce the subject, the teaching areas. How then does the TSC work on this without advice from the working party? So I think after we get the working party, our consultant will also be guided. And I think this is something we shall canvass with this committee, because the new CBE and staffing norm must go through public participation, because it will be a complete paradigm shift. And so yes, 2 teachers for JSS are not enough. But honorable members, I'm here asking for money. Give me money. We take these teachers to schools tomorrow. So the ball is in your court. It's not the commission. We need money to recruit teachers. Then what contributed to the glaring shortage? It is the 100% transition, then the transition of JSS compounded with an already existing shortage in school. This is what has contributed to the glaring shortage. And again, I will say, and I think when I come to the challenges we are facing and my prayers, I'll be asking for more money to recruit teachers. About constituencies, I think this has been canvassed in this House. We are unable to work with the constituencies because government works as one, and the administrative areas are the counties and sub-counties. And if you check, now I can't remember because I was just reading, if you check in our presentation, the appendices, we have actually given you the shortages and teachers on duty per sub-county. I think it should be appendix 7 and 9, I'm told. You can check that. We have given the sub-counties, which in most cases actually it covers the constituencies. The next one was on the ASO areas. Why are teachers not adequate? And the question I think, Chair, I want to ask back to you, draw back to you, which county has enough teachers? None. And we are recruiting annually, but they are never enough. Equal numbers. Why shouldn't we? I think the question is, and I think the Chair tried to help us, why shouldn't we recruit from the grossly understaffed and not the others, for example? This came from this house. And we are asking this house to give guidance on what you want as our oversight, what you want us to do. Because you are conflicting as chair, allow me to say that. One, when we came last time, the other parliament, we were told you must recruit the son of the soil. Recruit for Kirinyaga, recruit for Baringo, so that you give the youth of those counties jobs. Then take these people out. And that is what we have been doing. But we have come back here, and I think it is part of our presentation today still. You have told us, don't delocalize teachers. Chair, we are also saying we wanted to bring parity and equity in the way we staff the school so that every county at least gets 25% shortage, and then we can start working there. How are we going to achieve that? If we are not, you can't delocalize a teacher. You must employ Nancy in Nairobi if that's the county, and we bring back. I think, Chair, we need guidance from this committee. Then the other one about, I think the other one was still about teacher interns in GSS. And why we can't take this, I didn't understand what Honorable Rero wanted to say, but the content of JSS is actually secondary. And therefore, whether they are teacher interns or PNP who are trained as secondary school teachers, they have to get secondary school teachers and not primary school teachers. And that's why we are also here trying to get teachers with higher qualifications who have requisite grades to teach in secondary now being mapped for the same. I think, Chair, those were the questions.
Thank you. And I think I want to put this point very clear, CEO, that the delocalization issue affected only those teachers who left their stations unwillingly. Only those ones. There are certain teachers whose county of origin maybe is Baringo, and is recruited here in Nairobi, and he can stay in Nairobi forever. Or is recruited in Nakuru, or is recruited in Bomet, or the others. So that one is not an issue that will come to this table. The issue is the teachers who left their stations under the delocalization policy are those ones. Anybody who is recruited and wishes to go to Kirinyaga on his own valuation, we have no problem with that. It is not an issue there. So I think members, do you have a clarification, or we move to the next one on promotion? But there is one thing on clarification, CEO. Noting that we have what we call affirmative action for Garissa, Wajir, Lamu. We have still problems in Tana River, which is at 40%, Kilifi, which is at 49%, Bomet, which is at 48%, that's secondary schools. We have Mandera at 48%, that is secondary schools, Wajir at 47%, Kwale at 47%, Trans Nzoia at 44%, and Narok at 43%. Kakamega at 42%. These are your figures. I really need that we arrive at a very clear policy that if you are recruiting for Northeastern, for example, or for Kakamega, the teacher who is recruited under affirmative action should actually not come and to ask us for delocalization. That one should be very clear. And two, the Teacher Service Commission to tell us that this policy will end in this period. For example, if you recruit teachers for Kakamega, the shortage is 6,000. If you recruit 1,000 every year, in 6 years, we expect that shortage to be over, assuming natural attrition and everything is constant. I'm not putting that. So that we end that particular issue once and for all. Otherwise, we are actually in for a root shock, because this problem is going to be there year in, year out. So we really need to come with a very clear policy, members. And this committee, I also want us to burn into the midnight oil, telling ourselves, what are we going to do to stop this shortage? Because a student in Kakamega, Homa Bay, Kisumu, is the same student like the one in Muranga, Kirinyaga, or any other place. So we really need to make sure that there is equity and assist the commission either by providing resources, 25%, so that they can have a shortage equal of 25%. And then two, we convince our members in the House that this time there will be no equitable recruitment. We'll be having targeted recruitment, which I know is an uphill task. You know very well. I think I've been in that house for enough time. Members will not accept that what their county don't recruit. I know that is a big issue. But we have to bite the bullet and agree that let's have targeted recruitment for maybe 2-3 years, and we are through with this problem. Thank you. So let's move to promotion. So that we are...
Before promotion, Chair.
Yes.
The CEO has said that there is a tabulation of distribution of teachers per shortages, per sub-counties, but this is only in secondary sector. It is not in primary sector, because, for example, where I come from, the Meru County, we have 11 and distinct sub-counties that are covered by TIMIS, that is Teachers Management Information System. But during recruitment, because of lack of data allocation, somebody tried to sneak in other 3 sub-counties to get chairs during the recruitment. So there is no charge distribution for the primary sector, but there is that one for secondary sector.
CEO,
so the secondary sector, primary sector is
getting that. Do we have the data for primary?
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
When
which
you
appendix?
go to Appendix 7, the end completely. You start with the secondary, then at the end, you will find primary.
Primary is per counties.
It is sub-county at the end. I have it here. Go to the end. 1 out of 10. Page 1 out of 10 at the appendix. It is appendix 7 at the end. 1 out of 10. The very final document. It is there. No, it is there.
It's appendix 7.
Appendix 7 at the final end.
No, is it? These are counties. These are counties.
No sub-counties.
No sub-counties.
No, like for example, let me ask. We have one. The first one is Baringo. At the Baringo Central, Baringo North, Koibadek, Marigat, Mogotio, Tiate East, Tiate West, and those counties.
Oh, that's appendix 10 here.
Huh? Mine is appendix 7.
But I also want to bring to attention, remember, that there are some constituencies with more than 1 sub-county. I hope you know that. So they cannot make it constituency based because it is sub-county based. I hope you know that. It is the administrative unit. So you can go to some constituencies with 3, some with 2, some with 1. I think that is the reason why they are doing it. So let's proceed to the next one on promotion of teachers.
Chair. Sorry, Chair. You know, Appendix 9 and 10 refers to distribution of post-primary teaching allocation posts. It doesn't refer to shortages.
There isn't.
It's not shortages.
Okay.
That's not CEO.
That's what is allocation for
kindly provide for the primary
for us
school
all.
teachers. Yes.
No, it is there, but I can give my copy to the clerk too. For it is there. Yeah, it's there.
Kindly give us that copy.
It is there.
Shortage. You have not indicated there any. Yeah. We'll look into it and then we can calculate the members.
Yeah.
They have not indicated the appendix on top.
It is at the appendix 7 at the end completely.
Then it is not shown here.
No, that one is part of appendix 7 here, but it is there.
Oh, yes. Anyway, let's proceed. We shall photocopy and then have members check. Kindly, the members who want to check on this.
Yeah, Chair. When you are away, I raised the matter on the questions. You remember the written questions that I had raised in the other meeting. In the last meeting we had, none of those questions have received any adequate answer from here. And I made to understand perhaps those questions were not shared with the Commission. So I suggest that I will reshare those questions again so that I receive proper answers in the next meeting.
Yes, I mentioned on that. I think we shared with the Secretariat.
But they not shared with the Commission.
I'm told you didn't share. No, the other meeting, the last meeting. Yes, I remember you wrote something on handwritten. Yes. Did you share it? So that to solve that problem, you reshare it again, and then we give the Commission to share with us. Let's move the next question.
Chair, I've received an answer on the 7 months that we didn't have the positions, the people in post, the ones we have recruited. But I'm sorry to say this. emoluments, personal emoluments in a budgeting process are a fixed cost. So you can't tell me that because they are appropriated in the financial year and the person was not recruited, that since you have not finished the financial year, then we cannot raise a question. I'm still insisting, Chair, that this committee is entitled to know the prudence of the 1 billion shillings, that period within which we didn't recruit the people. Because it can help us solve our problems. That's why I'm asking.
I think I want to just put it clear, honorable members. The Teacher Service Commission is normally a conduit. They normally present a payroll to the National Treasury, and the National Treasury pays as it is. I think that is what they normally do. So there is no money which is domiciled there, that you are given now 54 billion, go and pay. Even like Bunge, we always ask National Treasury to give us the money. So what I wanted us to put, so that we raise this question, because time is of essence. They have explained that they are going to start from February. In our next meeting, when we have the what do you call it, the supplementary, I want you to have an enhanced answer on that particular issue. Is that okay? So that we move forward. Because every other time the National Treasury sends the money to all the government ministries, they are not banking the money prior. They just do it on it. But I want them to answer on that particular issue. Let's move forward on promotion of teachers.
Okay, Chair. The next one is promotion of teachers. The criteria we intend to use in the upcoming promotions, and this is done according to Regulation 73 and the career progression guidelines. The criteria includes all those things up to F, availability, budget, annual performance records. And to this end, the promotions will be done competitively with the object to recognize and reward effort and performance, allowing teachers for succession management, career progression, and to motivate employees. So the Commission, I think we wrote this then, has already advertised the positions, and the selection and appointment will be strictly guided by the principles of public service at Article 232 of the Constitution. That is fairness, competition, merit, integrity, transparency, accountability, equity, fairness and impartiality, inclusiveness, and all those things. So through adherence to the above discussed criteria, principles for promotion, the Commission ensures that promotion is conducted within the confines of equity and fairness. So, Chair, we are just trying in that one, trying to show how we conduct these interviews, and we are guided by provisions of the law, both TSC and the Constitution. At 3.2, the Commission to present the committee details of the 5,000 teachers promoted in the year 2020, and most importantly, data per county, cadres, primary and secondary schools, and vacancies per county. Now, it should be noted that the promotion of teachers is undertaken in a financial year and not calendar year. Accordingly, the Commission competitively promoted a total of 4,000 teachers in the financial year of 19 and 20, and 16,032 in the financial year 2021, as shown in appendices 12A and 12B, Chair. So I think members can check those appendices to show the teachers that we promoted, and to actually show that we did not promote 5,000, we promoted over 20,000 teachers. In addition, the financial year 1920, the Commission promoted a total of 5,000 and 94,176 teachers in the financial year 2021 on common cadre, again, and appendix 13. We have put everything there. We have shown 18 sub-counties, actually. The next one was Commission to present to the committee the criteria to be applied in the promotion of teachers who have acted for some as long as 5 years without confirmation. And we are saying that, again, these are, especially the promotions of institutional administrators, are competitively filled with the objective to promote national values. Again, all those things we said before. And promotion of institutional administrators is guided by the policy on appointment and deployment of institutional administrators as attached at Appendix 14. Again, members can check that policy at Appendix 14. And it also provides for clear career progression structures to ensure systematic progression of these teachers. It also outlines the experience, the professional requirements, and so on. Under 3.3.3, teachers must show, even if they have all the requisite requirements, they must show interest by applying when the commission advertises for the said positions. And further to the requirements set out in the policy, teachers who have acted as institutional administrators have an added advantage during interviews as they are awarded marks on the number of years they have been acting. Just like when we are recruiting, those who have been out long get more marks, and therefore teachers who have acted longer, the marks is graduated as such. Then under 3.4, the commission to present to the committee its teachers' promotion plan for 22-23 financial year. And this is, we have promoted a total of 11,250 teachers in the common cadre. Again, please check Appendix 15. Additionally, the Commission plans to promote a total of 13,717 teachers on competitive promotions and 1,021 teachers on affirmative action in ASO and hard-to-staff areas. So it's all there. So, Chair, that is as far as promotion is concerned before we go to delocalization.
CEO and the Chair, I think this is something that was the heart of our discussion in our last meeting. And one of the biggest issues teachers have is that a teacher has served, is due for promotion, and is on retirement. Yet, he was supposed to be promoted 1 year or 2 years, but due to the delay, he just got retired on a lower job group. On this note, it will affect his pension and take away. I know a number of teachers who serve at this, and they have been really crying out there, what are you doing on these individuals who are by law due for promotion? I know they have been left behind, and now they are having a lower pension based on a lower pack. 2, so what are you doing on that? 2, we have a number of principals who have retired, who actually have acted. Then during the interview process, they have sat for 2-3 years' time. When they wanted to log in for interview, they can't access the, what do you call it? The portal. The portal has been designed in such a way that it is difficult for them to enter just because of maybe the level of education or what. Yet this person has asked for 3 years or 2 years, yet you don't promote that individual. You bring in a new person. Now the teaching service is very demoralized on that. 2, 3, we have this issue where you have the commission. You've given us very good data here on teacher promotion. Out there in the field, you have a number of teachers who tell you that, yes, we have seen the advert, but to log into that particular advert is quite difficult. Maybe you need to tell us what is the problem. Is it that the teachers do not qualify, or you are advertising positions that are not, the teachers do not meet? Thank you. Let me open the floor, and let's start with Honorable Nabi, then we come to Honorable Tonkei, Honorable Njendi, Honorable Member for Nyamira, Siaya, and lastly, Honorable Hero.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 quick questions. Chair, as you realize, part of the problem of this promotion or not promoting teachers has affected the quality of administration in schools. In my constituency, 28 primary schools do not have substantive head teachers. 36 primary schools have acting deputy head teachers. First question. Now that the promotion has been a problem, Chair, a teacher has served on a position for 15, 10, 12 12, 15 years. And when he goes to apply in the portal, because he thinks, I need to be in this grade, maybe I need to be a deputy head teacher, I've been delayed on one grade. The portal does not even allow him to apply. What are we going to do about it? We have so many deputy principals on D1. They have served for more than 5 years. They could not apply to be principals, Chair, because the portal could not allow. How are we going to compensate these people? My third question.
2 questions.
The final one.
No.
Chair, just
Order, okay?
Thank you, Chair. Mine is on the acting of administrators in the hard-to-staff areas and the ASAL areas. And, Chair, we find that there are so many acting administrators in those schools. The question is, what led to the acting in these areas? Number 2, were there no allocations for to recruit those administrators in the hard-to-staff areas and ASAL areas? Question number 3, did they meet the criteria, Chair, for them to be recruited as administrators? Because if TSC can give them acting letters, then what makes you, TSC, not confirm these teachers as administrators in those schools?
Only 2 questions, remember, so that we keep time.
Chairman, I would like to get proper information on this group that was promoted sometime, was in 2019, curriculum support officers. What is their status? Because they were promoted, yes, but not with the equivalent salary. Curriculum support officers. I'm in possession of a document which you developed, and I can see your signature, CEO, is on it, together with the former chair, Nzomo, on career progression guideline. What happened with this group? Because in your mentioning, in terms of promotion, they are not anywhere. And I want to inform you, you promoted them to a very senior position, curriculum support officers. Some of the people they left in their respective schools were promoted. They are earning a higher salary as compared to them, and they supervise them. Are you aware of that? Thank you.
Thank you. And member for Nyamira.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is on the common cadre promotions. I don't know whether the Commission is aware that there are several teachers who are complaining that they have finished 4 to 5 years before being promoted to common cadre, which is automatic. We have names. Last time when you asked, we tried to give you the names, but still this month they said they were not moved from their grade to the next grade, which is supposed to be automatic. Number 2, in most of our schools, of course, the managers of the schools are on acting capacity. What is wrong? Why are you not giving them to be the real managers? Why do they have to act for more than 3 years, yet they have qualified? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is on the criteria for promotion, and I'm seeing E and F. You have indicated that you consider annual performance records, and then the F is academic and professional qualifications. I think these two issues are quite challenging up to now. Annual performance records, my question is, who does the assessment of teachers to enable you to know that he qualifies for promotion? Who does that? Because we are looking for annual performance. Who will give you the performance of the teachers for you to be able to give the teacher promotion for good performance? The other one is academic and professional qualification. This is a challenging one. Up to now, you've never resolved it. The teachers who go for degrees, the teachers who go for masters remain where they have been before, as though they have not got advanced certificates. What are you doing about these teachers who have more than one degree and you still don't promote them? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, hand over to Tumu.
Okay, thank you, Chair. It is in public domain that since 2014, February, teachers who have higher qualifications have never been promoted. My question is, what is the mechanism? Assuming that a teacher is not maybe in administrative level, a teacher may retire in the same grade. What the mechanism, owing to financial constraints and also the appraisal systems that are put in place? There are teachers who have never been promoted, though I know in 2020, as the Madam CEO has said, there was that common conduct promotion that went only one level. Those teachers are almost now, some have now finished 5 years in the same grade. What the mechanism is in place to make sure that teachers who are not in administrative positions are promoted after a particular year without the rigorous system of appraisals that maybe would never give them an opportunity to rise? Because we have seen teachers, particularly in the old system, a teacher enters job group in P1 level and you retire still being a P1. I think this is very unfair and demoralizing to the teaching service.
Yes, only 2 questions. The curriculum support officers, can they be part of the TSC secretariat because they have been recruited as part of your staff? 2, are you aware that in the whole of Nairobi we don't have D3 teachers? So the D2s cannot be promoted to be heads in Nairobi. So can we promote the D2s to be heads and give them D3 if the promotion time is not yet ready?
Professor, and then on
I just have one question. The TSC has been supporting teachers to further their studies, and it's a good idea. But of late, there has been quite a number of teachers who have graduated with Doctor of Philosophy. And those teachers are serving in others in primary schools, others in secondary schools as classroom teachers. And of course, once somebody has gotten a PhD and they are working at the same space, they get demoralized. What plans do you have for such teachers? Because you are the people who gave them support to go and study. And now universities, they are not absorbing them at that fast rate because they also have, I think, excess or enough.
Thank you. Okay, Chumba.
Yes, there's one question, Chair. Are there plans to fill the position of sub-county directors, TSC directors, because we don't have one in Marakwet West?
Thank you. Hello, Abdul.
Thank you, Chair. This problem of acting administrators is actually a national problem, but the problem is compounded in their sense. Because apart from being stuck in one grade for a number of years, those administrators in ASAL are also not paid the acting allowance. At the end of it, they become demotivated, and you know what happens when the administrators are demotivated. Perhaps it could be the root cause of the poor performance of exams by students from those regions, the ASALs and hard to staff areas. So I would really be interested to know whether the failure to compensate or reward the local teachers who have been working as administrators, particularly in those ASAL areas, is not in bad faith, and the fact that is it not unlawful, and is it not discriminatory for TSC to do that when perhaps teachers from other regions are receiving acting allowance? Finally, was it a term of the employment, in the employment contract of the teachers in ASAL areas, not to receive acting allowance? Thank you.
You mean there is acting allowance across the country and only in ASAL it is not?
At least I'm aware in the ASAL they don't get acting allowance. They are acting.
Kindly note it down.
And they are not receiving acting allowance.
Yes, the honourable member for Kasipul.
Chair, I think it's what has been raised by my colleagues on the stagnation of teachers. And we know that when you promote, then it also creates vacancies for the others to grow. When they are stagnated, then there's a big problem and there's a lot of frustration. Let us not pretend. There is a lot of frustration. What is the degree? What is the degree of stagnation? Can the TSC tell us? Can we know the status currently? The only way we can know this is through your payroll. An audit of your current payroll, then we'll be able to determine the degree of stagnation and then see how it can be sorted out. Maybe that, Chair, if we can look at it, maybe an audit of that payroll to see how many people have stagnated in their position and for how long, then we can now address the matter adequately. Thank you.
One question only.
Yes, one. Can I also ask what is in place for promotion of serving TSC officers from the sub-county, county, up to national? Because I see some lot of stagnation and demotivation.
Yes, I think there's something I want to add so that you'll answer it once, especially on curriculum support officers. These are the first line officers who will ensure quality, who ensure attendance, who ensure that schools are running. But unfortunately, Madam CEO, there's this issue where a CSO officer in job group, which is the list one? Job group. The list. C5, yes. Yes, C5. Is supervising a chief principal who is in D4. This individual is actually intimidated even by the scales. He can't be able to do it well. The same thing applies to sub-county administrators. Some of the TSC sub-county are lower job group. Can you move these officers? Is it possible that you move the CSOs to the secretariat, give them a higher job group, and then now be able to supervise and assist you well in their job? Lastly, the issue of stagnation. I really want us to, I mentioned this a lot because, as one of the members have said, thousands of teachers have stagnated. I think we want the commission to come back to this committee, giving us the number of years teachers have stagnated in various job groups and the amounts required so that we can assist you to make sure that these teachers are promoted and these teachers also feel motivated to work. You can't have a teacher serving in D4 for several years. He's not promoted, he's doing nothing. He has served as a C1 teacher for 10 years. It is quite unfair. Kindly go back and make sure you give us very clear data on how many have stagnated on this job group, how many have, how much you need, so that moving forward we have a motivated teaching service. And on the CSOs, I really you need to come up with very clear criteria on how to assist them or to make them be motivated and be part of your secretariat. Kindly answer those questions and then we move forward.
Thank you, Chair. And I also feel very motivated because members can see what we all want at the Teacher Service Commission to promote our teachers. And I think we are putting, do they say the cart before the horse? Because when we come to emerging issues, I have even given you a table on the monies we want for promotion, and we shall come to that. But generally speaking, just give us 2 billion every financial year to promote teachers, and this issue of stagnation will go. Chair, the last time we received money for promotion was in 2011. That is the last time. Those of you who have come from class, you remember. And since then, we have never been given money to promote teachers. Even the one now we are conversing here today, the 13,000, is it 13,000? This is money that is recurrent. It is about those teachers who have retired. We always come here, we ask for a budget of 2 billion, and we are given nothing. And we have to go back and look at our current expenditure and try to see how can we even motivate a little. So, Honorable Chair, when we come and members tell us what plans do we have all the plans ready because we have the career progression guidelines, including those of the CSOs. By the way, the CSOs also have a career structure, a special one on their own. But give us this money. These teachers will be recruited. And yes, I can see the Vice Chair looking at me. And yes, if you want me to send that structure of the CSOs, we can send it. It's there. It is special. It's on its own. But let me start now with the CSOs. The CSOs, remember, the commission as a constitutional commission. Also, the SRC undertook a job evaluation for all of us, including the teachers, the CSOs, and so on. And the CSOs were evaluated and put on job group C5. C5 is the highest job group of a primary school teacher. And CSOs actually only, they only oversee primary school teachers, not secondary school teachers. Of course, you can send them to do one or two things, but they are essentially for primary school teachers. Chair, if you give us money to promote these teachers and we go to SRC and write and we canvass, the lowest job group is C5, but the highest is a D2. D2. So this is loosely, C5 is P, isn't it? And the D2 loosely. It is like a Q. So they are not as low as they see. But they are still in the teacher's payroll because that is how they were appraised by SRC. When they did the job evaluation, it was seen that they can't join the secretariat, and they just supervise primary school teachers. The highest job group of a primary school teacher, the head teacher, is C5 and the D1. So they are almost equivalent, and that's how we had placed them. And they have a different skill from the rest. They are not even on the teachers, and they have their special one because they are administrators essentially. But they were evaluated as such. Now, in terms of the sub-counties and the secretaries, so that I finish with that and go to the promotions, and the sub-counties, it is true, we have some counties that don't have sub-county directors because some retired, we have new sub-counties, and I think you'll be getting those letters. I think they are done. I think the last date you will get them is on Monday. We were just waiting for the recruitment of the JSS teachers. We didn't want any instability in the camp, but you will get them. The letters are done, including we will be advertising for CSOs because that's how you join the secretariat, and we shall advertise for the CSOs. So in terms of sub-county directors and the county directors, Chair, again it was as a result of job evaluation. And that is how the secretariat is paid until another job evaluation is done. And they are not as low. They are not low. They are quite senior, these people in the field. But it is as per the job evaluation. Maybe you can do something for me where they are, and I can read it. But just now to go to the promotions, I think the members need to differentiate between common cadre and competitive promotions. I think we need to draw a line there because I thought like when the questions were coming, I got lost between the common cadre and competitive. And competitive is the one I have just said, Chair, that we have no money. Even the money that we are now using is recurrent expenditure. And therefore, we would need money like 2 billion to be promoting these teachers. That's why you'll find a lot of stagnation. And for the cases of schools where we have acting heads and acting deputies, please let them apply in the portal that I'll just explain, because it is after they now apply, after they succeed, then we will either confirm them. I think most of them, because they are acting and the marks will be higher than the rest, then we'll confirm. However, it is worthwhile noting here that if you are in D1, you can't apply for D3. You can only apply for D2. So I think our teachers, and we tried to educate even through the website, not to apply for a job group you are not qualified for. Because I think that's where, and we did extend the time for the application when we noted that teachers were not going through the portal, and it is as a result of most of them, since they know that to be ahead, you have to be, I think the lowest is the D3. So what most of our teachers did, who doesn't want to be ahead anyway, who doesn't want promotion? So what they most did is go to the D3 portal to get the position of head teacher. Yet you should just have applied to D2, especially for primary school teachers and so on. I think there was that problem with our teachers. Otherwise, we did extend time. We did tell our county directors to help our teachers wherever there was a problem. And if there is a teacher who honestly did not get the portal chair, let me get a list of them, because we did extend time. So we are hoping that by the time we are through later this month with the interviews and so on, these primary schools and the acting deputies should have letters of promotion if they did apply. The other thing is that, Chair, we have too many new schools, by the way, too many new schools, and this again gives us a lot of problems in where do we get qualified teachers, because we do not have money to promote. Where do we get a qualified teacher to post to these schools, or where a teacher resigns and so on? So you find we'll give a teacher a letter to perform, because we again don't have money. And even after we recruit the 13,000, we shall still leave many more teachers unpromoted, and therefore that's why we would want money from you. I think the other one is about lack. I have explained why we have these actings and the emergency of new schools. About the annual performance, it is a self-appraisal by the teachers, and then they are finally appraised by the head teachers, so that they are supervisors, so that they sit together and then do the final appraisal. These appraisals then are escalated all the way to the headquarters and put in the teachers' files. Academic and professional degrees and so on, I think these are the getting higher qualifications. One, budget again. But again, in government, it is about the existence of positions, not about the extra qualifications. So government will go with the career progression, or whatever they now call them in other public institutions. For us, it's the career progression. We will follow the career progression, but it is a general rule in government. And here we remember, as one member has correctly put it, we used it to promote teachers when they got higher qualifications. Then it was said, due to lack of budget, you have to wait for a position to arise for you to get promoted. So, Chair, the other one was on D3 in Nairobi. Please, yes, I am not sure. I would have to go and find out whether it is true that we don't have D3. Then I'm wondering, who are the heads in Nairobi? Because in Nairobi we don't have actings. Actually, it's one of the most favored counties. We have the qualified heads. But I will check, Chair, and see. But if they are not there, we have advertised for D3. Let them apply. We shall promote if they succeed. Then the other one again is about when teachers go for further studies. I think I have answered that. I think I have answered about sub-counties. And again, about the allowance, as I said from the beginning, every promotion is pegged on a budget line. So as long as we don't have budgets, how shall we pay anything? However, we have written about the acting allowance, because it was scrapped by SRC. And we have written to them to tell them that in the teaching service, we will always have an acting somewhere once in a while, and they should allow us to get this allowance, and we shall give you what they tell us. So thank you, Chair.
The acting allowance is not there across the country, or is in some regions?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is across the country.
So none.
It was, they scrapped the responsibility allowance, they scrapped acting, yes, but we have written.
There's something I want you to come very clear, CEO, especially on the acting teacher. The acting teacher, for example, is in C4. And I think with this committee in the 11th Parliament, we passed a resolution and we brought it to the commission that in ASAL and in hard-to-starve areas, we have teachers who are not qualified, but they can do the job well. So he has been acting for 5 years or 4 years, and he's in C, I don't know, these C's are very difficult. Maybe he's in a lower job group, and the other job group is D1, and I'm in C4. So first of all, I have to be in C5 before I go to D1. So in this case, you are disadvantaging me and allowing me to act, yet you can't appoint me. So in this case, I really want the commission to look into those special cases, especially in hard-to-starve areas, ASAL areas, and more specifically, individuals who have acted as deputies or as head teachers in those stations, and you have records showing that they acted. So if you want me, for example, to apply to D1 to be a principal, for example, or a head teacher, and I'm in C4, and I've been doing the job well, you need to give an affirmative action to this group of people so that they can move to the next level, bypass the bypass the C5 and go to D1. Because
Yes,
immediately you open I cloak into the portal, it will not open. Yes, come clear on that.
Chair, just give us the budget. We are telling you what we are acting on is the recurrent. And you remember what you told us in the last parliament. Now you are telling us different things. Remember, you are unanswered that in the ASO areas, we do not take people from the rest of the country there so that we grow them finally and they can compete fairly with the national. So what the House told us is, Nancy is in C4, but to be a primary school head, is a C5. All right, so I'm in C3. So what the House said, because of lack of funds, grow Nancy gradually. And if you take the case of ASAL areas, because we do interviews, we run these interviews annually on a recurrent budget. It is that after every 3 years, and that's why you see, even when I was reading, the ASO areas are on their own. They compete amongst themselves. And therefore, if I'm in C3, I won't be removed. I will just apply if I have done the 3 years acting. I go now to C4 after 3 years. But if you give us budget, Chair, who has a problem?
Chair.
Yes, let's start with Honorable Nabi and then Honorable Tolkien.
Yes, Chair. I'm a bit disturbed with the explanation of the CEO. Teacher Nabwera, senior teacher in Mugunga Primary. The head teacher goes, the deputy retires. Senior teacher Nabwera is appointed to act as a head teacher. He stays acting for over a year. In fact, the particular teacher I'm talking about acted for over 3 years. He has run the school effectively, and probably even the results have improved when senior teacher Nabwera is the acting head teacher. There is no deputy. Even the acting deputy is some teacher who has been appointed. Now, you can't allow teacher Nabwera to contest for position of a head teacher when it becomes vacant. Which professional rule is that?
Yes, Chair, I think the CEO did not even answer my questions. Because the questions about hard-to-starve areas and the ASAL areas on issues of acting administrators. You know, Madam CEO, there's this, the 3.15, 3.3, 3.32 on Article 252 of the Constitution. I even wonder whether this applies on these teachers on ASAL areas. Because if a teacher asks for 5 years, 6 years, and you are telling us for you to move from C, is it C3, C to C5, to C what, to D what, and you are giving somebody 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, will these teachers retire? Surely, even before they become these head teachers. So what are you going to do, at least to ensure that there is fairness? Because with this criteria, no, there is no fairness at all.
Thank you, CEO. Respond to that. so that we move.
Chair, you know we act within rules and regulations, unless now we are told to break these rules by this committee. Remember, I have just said the commission is acting on something that was passed by this same house. Remember, before this, we used to take people who are qualified to those ASA and had to serve. And then there was an outcry. Yes, you can't always be bringing us non-locals to head our schools. And therefore, this house told us, this committee told us, fine, get the oldest, I mean that in quotes, the one who have served the longest in those areas, appoint those people on not even acting, it is performing duties, and grow them gradually. That is what that's what is unanswered, and that's what we have been doing. And it is not true that these teachers will retire. Most of the teachers actually who are in ASO areas are young teachers. Actually, because we recruit them immediately, they leave school. So, Chair, unless you are giving us further guidance on this, we are just following what was passed here. But beyond that is budget. The Commission has asked for acting allowance because at any one time, again remember that if a teacher retires when the term is in progress, we can't now start having schools destabilized. So we will have someone performing duties. All we are asking is, and I think you should support us in this, can we at least even get an acting allowance back, and so that when these teachers are appointed, no matter for how long, then we can give them an acting allowance. Chair, the issue on promotions is pegged on budget. Give us 2 billion. We will promote all these teachers.
Thank you. Yes, any other? Let's go to delocalization and then we are through with it.
So, Chair, the other one is on delocalization, and I won't belabor. I think I'll go straight to 4.12, that when we were here, when my chair was here, he did say that we have 14,733 teachers requests as of 30th November. That does not say that teachers have not continued to apply. They are still applying, and we shall be doing these transfers over the holidays. And that the teachers were transferred as we were supposed to do. So if you look at Appendix 16, you'll see the numbers of these teachers that we have transferred. It is all there. Is it? Appendix 16, Chair, we have given the numbers of the teachers who have, and then per county, how many teachers were affected. But it is important, Chair, to note that even as we did this, sometimes we were constrained because the vacancy, the schools that these teachers wanted, the proposed stations, would not have, some would not have vacancies, and in other areas, the replacements were needed in their current stations, and therefore it has to be gradual for us to replace and for us to get stations. Chair, for example, in the cases of headship, you can only have one head. So if a school is not vacant, then that may not be possible. Then note of the honorable members, transfer is a continuous exercise, and the Commission will continue to transfer teachers as it receives the applications, subject to availability of vacancies and the need for replacements. Then the Commission to present a report on the progress and abolishment of the delocalization. I think, Chair, I will go straight to 4.2.4. Where we are saying what we look at when we are transferring teachers, the age, the health, teachers with alternative abilities, teachers on promotion, proximity to home county, size and performance of schools, that's the categorization as per the CBA, and then finally family considerations. So in summary, to address the issues raised during the implementation of the delocalization policy, the Commission, one, stopped the implementation of the delocalization policy, has and continues to transfer teachers who apply for transfer back to their home counties. And like I have said, then there has to be a vacancy and sometimes need for replacement. It has commenced the review of the Code of Regulations for Teachers 2015 to address the emerging issues in the teaching sector. So, Chair, that's about the delocalization.
Yes, thank you. CEO, I have two questions on that. One is the exact status of delocalization. Teachers across the country are holed up in county headquarters. Majority, there is no teaching, learning going on because the teachers are expectant of to go back to their home counties. That means a few are delocalized and a majority are hanging out there. And they know that the policy is abolished. What are you doing with these teachers who are actually hanging out there in the county headquarters and they are not teaching and they want to go to their former counties, sub-counties? Two, can the Commissioner give us the current status of how many have moved out and how many have not yet moved? Thank you. Let me open it again. Honorable Njendi, Member of Nyamira, and then Honorable Nabi, Honorable Zion, and then Honorable Orero.
Chairman, just a follow-up on your question, because I raised before. Instead of giving us statistics on those who have applied and moved out in terms of statistics, to have real names. You know why? Because last time when we were here, the commission chair told us, was it vice or chair, told us all those who applied have been moved. But you see, we have information, we have records. All those who applied have not been moved. Some of them are sick. They even have applied even before this delocalization, then applied again. So we'd like really to get the actual statistics. I have cases. I have those in my constituency, which is affecting most of these, most of the MPs anyway in the country. Some were sick leave in my constituency, in my sub-county. They have not been they have not been localized. And those who are away still like so. So, Chairman, I would support this, but to get the actual names, because these statistics appear not to be giving us the right information per sub-county.
Thank you.
Chair, also to add on what Chair and Vice has said, there are teachers who were delocalized. They have tried to apply, but their administrators are not ready to release them. What are you going to do? Because indeed they were delocalized. Some of them are sick and they want to come home. But there is that if they have not applied, they will not be released. They have applied, their managers have refused to release them. As a commission, how are we going to assist us?
Next.
Thank you, Chair. My question is tied to the question of the Chair and the Vice Chair. Chair, one of the hindrances in the implementation of the policy of returning people home is what Orero referred to. In my own two sub-counties, we have encountered a situation where the delocalized administrators wanting to come back home can't get back home because they are being told either the schools that are home require D5 and you are on a D3, or you are on a D4, or there's no vacancy for a D2. And it has affected us. We can't even move. We have a school which has an extra county school chair is unable to attract 30 students. Reason? It had suffered with delocalization. People developed negative attitude. A principal who has been wanting to come back can't come back because he's on D5. The school requires a D3 or a D4. What kind of thing is this?
Thank you. Next. Honorable Tonke.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this issue of delocalization is a nightmare. I have seen teachers from Narok the other day who are in Migori and Bomet demonstrating because the policy is already there that everybody should go home. And I think they are among the 14,733 who had applied to go back home. Can TSC tell us what period, how long do you want so that you can transfer all these teachers back to their homes? so that we can stop people moving all around. Others are going to towns, to their headquarters, I mean, in their counties.
Thank you. Honorable Kisera.
Thank you, Chair. Last time, when the Commission was here, I had asked that they tell us exactly the 14,733, those applications got into the portal between which date and 30th November. Because even your response here is just cutting around that, because you've already said more have applied. So we don't know whether it's more or you're still playing with the 14,733 because we don't know the start date. Can we have the names and the period within which you had the 14,733? Secondly, I had asked, does TSC have a human face? Or you are relying too much on automation? We have so many cases of people who are in these 14,733 yet to be transferred as of today. Some of these people lost their spouses, had requested for transfer to go take care of their children because now they are single parents. They are yet to be transferred. At what point does TSC have a human face? Does someone have to come with the body of the deceased before burying them for TSC to accept? Or does a death certificate suffice?
Yeah, I know this committee serves the whole nation, but when you find that your county is aggrieved, you stand in for them. We feel that we are orphans. When I look at the delocalization, I see that only Nairobi, the secondary school, there is none who has been brought back to Nairobi. When you look at the list of Appendix 16, look at Nairobi secondary school teachers, zero, surely. Even when we write exams, even if you get zero, you are given 1. So the TSC, please consider Nairobi. That is my point.
Chair, I believe there is a disconnect between what is at the headquarters and the regional quarters for our regions, because I believe the regional directors were supposed to effect these transfers on behalf of the secretariat. And the regional directors have not done this, because I believe for teachers in Meru, who happens to teach in Marisabit and Isiolo, they have never been delocalized. That is a fact, and I believe the regional directors have sat on their transfers, or they have not expedited what has been awarded for them to do by the secretariats. So it needs a follow-up to make sure that teachers who are due to be transferred are actually transferred.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
Chair, my request to the CEO and the Commission is to be able to converse with the sub-county TSC directors, because let the sub-county TSC directors address the teachers, because they are camping outside the offices and the directors are not addressing their issues. Just let them give them a listening ear so that they can be able to listen to the issues they advance. Even if they don't have a solution, let them listen and explain to them the way you are telling us here. Number two, I'm aware you are developing code of regulations. You want to review the same, so that we don't have issues in future. I propose that before you submit the same to the committee on delegated legislation, kindly have the same availed to this committee so that we can be able to have our input during the public participation.
Thank you. CEO, you can respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. About the 14,733, it is true some of the letters were supposed to or have been done at the region offices, and we only did for the, I think it's regional and then the county to be done by the counties and so on. We cascaded these letters, and they have been done unless, because we have been on the case of the field officers, and unless I have now data on some of these that has not been done, I can't say that they have not, because they have, and they have given. It is okay. I wish I can just get some data to back this up, and then we can act on these officers. Actually, they are supposed to have done, and so that the teachers are in class right now. About data to give the names, I don't know. I would have no problem. You know, Chair, we have brought names and even TSC numbers to this committee before. We have never had a problem. But now we have received something from the data protection, something, that body, the commissioner, and you just can't give names or TSC numbers or anything out. And therefore, that's why you see that we have brought data here. There is that act that I will be consulting the lawyers. If we won't go against anything, then we shall bring, but it is there. I know. I have no problem giving names and everything. We have done it before. Chair, I'm just expressing, and I will go, and please allow me to consult my lawyers also, because it's me who will sign that, and I'll be advised, and we shall get with in touch with the chair. It would be nice to allow officers also to consult, but I have absolutely no problem giving out this data because it's there. Then about teachers who have been taken back to their counties and head teachers have refused, it's not acceptable. This is something that can attract disciplinary action from the commission, because once a head gets a letter, that head has the obligation to release those teachers. Again, if we have anything, our field officers can help. If that doesn't work, we can also get that data. About schools about schools that are D5 and D4, and therefore if I'm D3 I can't go. This is a categorization that was done, and it is in the CBA, and the ministry has categorized this school. It is true that you have to be in a certain grade to be in a certain category of schools. We have advertised, and should these teachers pass, then we shall transfer them to the same schools. About the start date, yes. Once we go back, we can get the start date up to the 30th of November, and we can give it to the committee. Yes, about the human face, the TSC does a human face, but it is sometimes also good to listen to the commission also, because we are also taking care of children in this country. So we have the teacher to take care of, but all of us have to first think about that child in class. And about Nairobi, Nairobi is very well staffed, Chair, and most of the people in Nairobi never move out. In fact, if you get a teacher wanting to move out of Nairobi, we do it very fast, so that's why you won't find many people coming back. Chair, we are trying, even as we have these teachers in our county offices, and we shall talk to our field officers to address the teachers. Sometimes you don't have to act, but you need to listen to people and give advice and direction and so on. So we shall be talking to them. But Chair, maybe we would want to be guided finally when we agree we have stopped this delocalization, how we shall achieve equitable staffing if everybody is going home. I think that's something we will leave with the committee, because some areas are very well staffed and people want to go back home, including the JSS that we have recruited. They went, got jobs. Of course, we have insisted that they get letters for where they sat. But they are telling us, no, we got jobs, take us back to our counties. Maybe when you sit back, please advise us on how the Commission will achieve equitable staffing in the country. Chair, the other one is about the review of the Code of Regulations and even the Act. Yeah, before we take our documents anywhere, they must be brought to this committee, so that we walk the journey together. That's a given. So, Chair, I hope I have answered your questions.
Yes, first follow up on that, but on the issue of data, CEO, I want to advise that the Data Act actually is discouraging data mining. But on data information, we have no problem, especially this committee, we are not doing any data mining or using data for unauthorized purposes. But on this particular case, we are just asking information on the movement of teachers from point A to point B and how many are doing what. That is quite in order.
Just to follow up on the same chair, you know, even as Parliament, when people apply for employment, even in counties, their names are put in the newspapers for people to know who has applied for what. And when there is recruitment and the final appointment, the names are also put up in the media. So we are simply just asking, you are talking of 14,000 applicants. We would like to know who are they. Legal person, you are referring to 14,000 applicants. We just want to know who are they. And how many have been considered? Because you have some statistics. You are saying applied and were considered. And I have statistics of persons with names who applied and have not been considered. I would like to know if that's part of your statistic.
Thank you. Any other? So, CEO.
Chair, we have no problem with that. Like I've said, I have brought a lot of data here before, but allow me this one time to also consult the lawyers because it is in order. And if there's nothing, there is no problem, we shall give. Then, Chair, lastly, it's about the emerging issues. And one of them, Honorable Member, yeah, it is the last bit. It was not in your letter, but now it's our turn to say what we think this committee can help us with. One is the review of the 2021-2025 CBA. Members, we negotiated a non-monetary 2021-2025 CBA with the teacher unions pursuant to the advisory of the SRC. Further, it was agreed that the CBA would be reviewed mid-term pursuant to improved economic status of the country. To this end, the Commission would wish to review the 2021-2025 CBA, more specifically, especially the salary component, with a name to motivate teachers under the employment of the Commission. Accordingly, we request the committee to support the Commission when the review process commences, because, Honorable Chair, you have just said our teachers are very demotivated because they are not promoted. Kindly give us money to review this CBA and make it a monetary CBA. Then, promotion of teachers, Chair. The Commission requests for an estimated budget of 2.17 billion to competitively promote 12,604 teachers in the financial year 23-24 as projected below here. We have given you the numbers and they are there. So, Chair, if you can give us so that we promote these teachers, and you will see that even where we have problems, like we didn't advertise with the recurrent expenditure, we couldn't advertise for D4 and C4, and that's why you find the teachers in D3 now wanting promotions to D4 cannot get through the portal because we didn't advertise, we didn't have money. So, Chair, please give us this money. Then 5.3, projects in information communication technology, Chair. It's about going digital. You know, the head of state did even give a directive on organizations to go this way. So we are asking for 350 million to upgrade systems to improve the automation and digitalization, linkages of services across the country, and acquire a new payroll. Chair, we are still at the IPPD, which is not domiciled with us. We can't even do anything with that payroll. And as you know, with the teachers we are recruiting, we are the numbers are becoming huge for the current payroll. We would need a new payroll to ensure that teachers are paid timely and that we avoid salary arrears or overpayment. Then, Chair, we need money for capacity building, that is especially for the CBC, the induction of the newly appointed administrators, mentorship and coaching, guidance and counseling, so that teachers do not always feel left behind when we post them to schools and when we tell them to teach new teaching areas. We should capacity build them. And, Chair, we need 150 million to implement capacity building programs. Chair, finally, we have the medical cover for teachers. We have all agreed we need to take teachers to NHIF, and indeed, The Commission acknowledges that NHIF is the best placed to provide a medical cover for teachers, taking into account its vast network across the country. To this end, we wrote and we were told that it will cost us approximately 12 billion. But remember, Chair, when we were given to the 24 billion, we only had 341 teachers. Now we have close to 382 teachers. So it will go above 24 billion. So but even if you just allocated us 14 billion annually, maybe we shall convince the NHIF, 24 billion per year, we shall convince NHIF to give us the teachers' medical cover, Chair. So finally, very finally, Chair, we want to thank this committee for the support and assure you that the Commission will continue to work with you to improve teachers' welfare and service delivery. And thank you for always being there for us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CEO. I think on the issues that I imagine, most of these are budgetary issues. I think one of the members we are going to discuss, most of them, and I think I want to thank you because you noted the issue of CBA. Teachers are actually demotivated and they need to be assisted. On promotion, the same. Projects on ICT. But on capacity building, I'm seeing you're putting a paltry 150 million now, but is it for 1 week? Because I know the teaching service is so large. Annually 150, and you'll be able to capacity build the teachers, all of them. Maybe you will look at it, I don't know. But I want to advise members that because the house will be on at 2:30, we actually put this.
Sorry, Chair, I am being corrected here. It is 1.5 billion.
Oh, yes.
1.5 billion. Sorry.
That makes sense now.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Chair, when it comes to promotion of teachers, we have 2.1 billion. These are the expected teachers for promotion annually. But I'm asking, I'm just wondering about those who are promoted. They didn't get equivalent salary to the levels. CSOs, curriculum support officers. Are they part of this? Because you're asking for 2 billion. You're asking for 2 billion, which I'm not seeing here, in terms of promotion. Where is that factored?
I don't know about curriculum.
The CSOs, you indicated that they are part of the teaching service.
Yes.
So these 2 billion covers them.
Yes.
Are you sure? Okay.
Be clear on that.
Officer in charge of the finances assist me on that.
And the CEOs covered in the promotion, so that we are sure.
I think most of the CSOs in their career progression guideline, they start from C5, they move to D1, and they move to D2. So most of them were promoted in the previous promotion. They are not covered in this one. But maybe in the next one we will consider them.
I just want to request TSC, get on the ground, talk to them, get to know exactly who they are and what they're going to do, please.
Thank you. Remember, we agree because of time, and we have an AOB to finish. Let's agree that we discuss these issues in the supplementary budget meeting, because all of them are financial, is it? Are we together, members? So that we have the House resuming at 2:30.
Yes, Chair, we will bring that one that
Yes.
Honorable Jed is talking about when I come on Thursday.
Yes.
We shall canvass it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, honorable members, we have come to the end.
Chair, kindly.
We have a pending issue.
Just one issue now. Madam CEO and the Commission, you are aware that yesterday the President ordered a joint police and military KDF intervention in the bandit-prone areas. Now, of course, it has affected many counties. And teachers were unfortunately not gazetted as, essential service providers. Teachers were not gazetted as essential service providers. And of course, that will immensely affect education in those areas. So what strategy do you have in place so that they can be gazetted as essential service providers, and also so that to protect the interest of teachers in those areas?
Yes.
Yeah, Chair. Mheshimiwa Timothy raised a matter here, and the legal person responded to it this way, that when a court has made judgment to be reinstated back into employment, it does not mean you get back onto the payroll.